Alright, hello YouTube. This is G with EnterTheDaggett. I show off went and got me the Harbor Freight motorcycle lift that had it on sale at $289.99. Been waiting for it to go on sale some, and I tell you what, I think for me it's real worth the money. Came in a big crate. You definitely need a truck or a trailer to pick it up with, but it's mostly put together. The only thing I had to put on were these, the piece here and then this piece here, and then had to also put on the pedals, which basically the big pedal just slides on, the other pedal has a little collar pin on it, and that's the release pedal for the jack. Did not have to add any fluid to it. You have the bar right there, so you pump on this bar right here and that jacks it up. This one lets it down. You have two height adjustments where you can go. As you can see, you got right here, and usually what I do is I jack it up, put the bar in it, let the pressure off so there's some weight on this bar, and that way I'm not putting a lot of pressure on the hydraulics. You can lower it down to a lower range. Surprisingly, even though there's not a big difference between those two holes, it's a significant height difference in the lift itself. So right now, you can see I'm changing, not really changing the oil on the KLR. I've changed the oil on it already, and in my infinite wisdom, I did not label my used bottles, and so I dumped a half a quart of coolant into the oil. So I'm draining that oil. Did not crank the motor, so I'm draining all that back out again. And man, this makes oil changes really easy. I stand up to do all my work now. I already used it to change the spark plug on my Husky, which was super easy. Stood straight up, not bending down. And here, if you do bend down, you don't have to bend down a whole lot, not like sitting down on the floor or whatever. So I had the rolling floor jack motorcycle lift, and it worked okay. But for this kind of work, this really makes a huge difference. This thing here will not hold the bike up completely by itself. People said they've had this hold their bike up without any issues. That has not worked for me. I still wind up having to use some sort of straps to keep it down. I keep the kickstand down. I guess I really don't have to, but it's down anyway. There is a ramp that goes right here, and it has two pegs that plug into this hole and this hole right here. And you can see it over there. I just have it leaning off the side right now. What you do need is you got to have some front room, so I have to roll it back and forth a little bit because this is a little one-car garage, and I got half of it marked as got this table on there. As you can see, the cluttered up table. Half on the other side of that is basically the laundry room, so I don't have a full garage to work in. And you see, although I'm just high enough, low enough to go underneath the garage door, which works out good. When the garage door is open, I don't get the full light of my LED light there, so I have some LED lights over, as you can see, glaring in the screen right now over there. And I have to move my saw out of the way because this is also a woodworking shop when I'm not working on motorcycles. So that's going to end one day eventually because I've got a 24 by 36 pole barn built. I'm going to get some concrete on it, and eventually I'll close that in and have me a nice workshop. But anyway, but with this lift, lifts everything up really easy. I don't ride the bikes on people. Some people talk about riding their motorcycles on. I walk mine on. Because if you were to ride it on, you could have some issues on trying to step off on the side and nothing to step on. Some people put side pieces on here. I just push it on. If I have to have some assistance, I'll hold the bike and kind of, walk it with the motor running and the clutch in it. And that gets it on pretty good. Recommendations I would recommend on this is, I learned this from another video. This little piece right here, keep this round piece facing the front of the lift, because what it has, if I can get under here and see, as you can see, there's this bar thing right here that's down. But that forward, if you were to slide your tire on this piece with the flip the other way around, this whole middle piece actually will slide forward and leave a little gap right here. And then this is slid up on top of the thing itself. So that's not real good. So keep it turned around that way and you don't have those issues. One thing I want to do is going to get me a little inexpensive scissor motorcycle jack and slide it up underneath. And I'm going to try making this up because the jacks with the round pieces on them, they're like $150, $200. Or a scissor jack, and then they have these little legs on them facing up with little cradles. I'm thinking about just getting me some metal and making one of those to go around the regular scissor jack, because I found a motorcycle scissor jack for about $70. And then for about another $10, $15 in metal, I can make the parts that I want. And what that'll be, they'll slide on top of the flat jack. Like I said, the motorcycle scissor jack has a flat base that slides up underneath the frame and lifts it up. But what I like to do is have it where I can take and adjust out and have some little legs catch here or catch on the pegs. And then you jack that up to where it holds this up, and that'll hold this thing a lot steadier. So you may or may not need these straps. Just something to hold it steady. Some people have claimed that the motorcycle thing can tip over. I'm not having that issue. I'm really pulling this thing. Now, you get one of those big, 800-900 pound or whatever, like a big full dress Harley or Goldwing on here. That could be a different story. Some people put some legs, I guess, outriggers on here so they don't have that issue. This one, I don't have that issue. It was real easy to put together the parts that I did have to put it together with. It is heavy. It is really heavy. So you got to have somebody help you lift it, hopefully. Actually, what I did was I took it out of undid the crate in the back of the truck, slid the thing out, and rolled it out kind of like a dolly. Because I was able to hold one in, so I'm only carrying half the weight at that point, and just rolled it on into the garage here. It works real well. If you got the space for it, which I barely do, but it's worth it. If I got to do some woodworking, I have to slide it out of the garage, so I could do some woodworking. But it is well worth the money, considering that you pay almost $1,000 for a brand name version of this, which is probably maybe better. But essentially, considering it's just a bunch of welded steel, and all the welds seem to be, even though they're not the prettiest welds in the world, they seem to hold, at least for now anyway. The thing holds, what does it say, 1,000 pounds. I don't have anything that weighs 1,000 pounds, so I'm not having any issues with that. Like I said, it's a good investment if you want to turn your own wrench, do some work on the bikes. And I guess that's about really all I could say about this thing. It does have, you can roll around wheels, and it has these little guys here, and I push those down, and what that does is keeps this thing from rolling. Because it puts some pressure onto the concrete to where you don't have an issue with this thing moving around on when you're trying to work on your motorcycle and everything. This is what I could do. I just won't let it down all the way. So you go and you step on this little guy right here. And that allows me to take out this bar, safety bar. Then you can step on this piece here. And as you'll see, just watch where it goes. You find that point, and it'll let it go down. Now, what I don't recommend doing is putting it like this, because this thing's going to sit down on your foot. Do it sideways. And then when you want to raise it up, there's a little bit of a workout, because it doesn't, it's a bottle jack, so come up little increments at a time. This is about your low height, a little lower than this on your first, to slide your piece into here. As you can see, there's a bit of lever there, so actually it'll go down a little bit farther. I like working mine, if I was working on the top of the motorcycle, I usually just leave it down anyway. I have yet really to need that particular range, that lower range yet. Jack it up till you get this piece into this hole. Slides all the way through. And then I just slowly release some pressure. I do it nice and slow. And now it's actually, the weight is on the bar. somewhat, so it's sturdy now. Some people complained about that bar moving about. I think it's because they probably let it down too fast and bending it. You know, a big weight, heavy motorcycle on it, you let it go down too fast, and what'll happen is, you know, I guess you could bend that bar. Let it go down slow, and I don't think you have that problem, because this holds it up pretty sturdy. I can't complain. This is the easiest oil change, so to speak. I mean, I'm not doing a full oil change, I'm just draining oil, that I've ever done. Motorcycle's upright, holding itself up. I'm just going to let it all drip out, let it sit here for 30 minutes or so, and make sure I get all that, at least as much of that water out of there that I can. There'll be so little in there that displacement of the oil, it shouldn't affect it. And this time, I'll make sure that I bought some new oil and use new oil things in there. And make sure when you drain your oil, if you dump them back into the old oil containers like I used to do, make sure you mark them that it's used oil or used fluid or whatever, because that sucks. But anyway, this is a Harbor Freight motorcycle lift. Don't know if this is helpful or not. Just please give a like, subscribe. Watch some of my other videos, just see kind of what I talk about and do. And what I'll do is I'll start covering these bikes a little more here in the future as well. Like I said, this is my KLR, which I took the handguards off of it. It's I think it's going to handle a lot better without those handguards. I don't like them. I'll eventually put some others on there or something. But anyway, that's it. This is G, EnterTheDaggett. Like and subscribe. Happy to have you as a subscriber. Just thank you for watching videos. Same people who do subscribe, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate everybody that watches and or subscribes. Leave a comment if you have any questions about this. I'll answer them the best that I can for you. But that's it. All right, you guys have a good one.